Planning, leading, and controlling, a managerial overview. Background. A manager is a person who must coordinate and control some of the processes in the enterprise. In other words, it is someone responsible for the efficient operation of a certain activity. Nowadays, working as a manager is very interesting and difficult. Such professionals are in demand, and people with the appropriate training and qualifications always have a job. The main characteristics of a manager include having education and specific personality traits, which are the ability to lead, organize, take responsibility, and motivate workers. Engaging in such is prestigious since it requires several complex skills, professionalism, and is rewarded with a fairly high salary. All this makes the importance of the ethical side of the manager's activities indisputable. I suppose that it is because the manager serves as an example of the attitude toward his job duties for ordinary employees and other managers. Therefore, violation of ethical standards by a supervisor can be perceived by ordinary employees as a type of permission to do the same. Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that several factors that contribute to a company's success depend on management. I believe that I possess several characteristics that can be of help to a company. For instance, the ability to set a goal and move towards achieving it is one of such important qualities. Another one is flexibility, which is the skill to realistically assess circumstances and adapt a company's activities according to them, without changing any crucial principles. Being aware of the managerial impact on globalization is also essential since my decision will affect not only my company but also its global image. The next one is my skill of stakeholder management, which greatly influences communication between those who impact my work. The importance of discipline cannot be overlooked either, because the established order should be followed strictly, and maintaining control of a team is one of the key purposes of a supervisor. The ability to come up with new ideas and outline ways to implement them is called being initiative, which is also a good characteristic. Planning. However, I realize my responsibilities as a manager, since my strategy determines how many years the company will keep afloat. I was surprised to learn in practice why making the right goals by a company's mission cannot be overlooked. If no one coordinated the goals, then the working day would turn into chaos. These goals should be specific and linked to a reward to keep workers motivated. Therefore, I always make sure that I follow the classic management strategies so that I can set proper achievements and do everything to make the company the best on the market. While trying to evaluate employees' performance, I learned to perform a SWOT analysis, which is one of the most effective ways to measure one's work. There is no doubt that there will also be several pitfalls. The managers of even the most successful firms cannot influence the economic situation in the country. For this reason, even the right decisions cannot protect a company from financial collapse in case it is brought about by external forces. Organizing. The concept of HR management is not as simple as it seems at first glance. I believe that the main goal is to gather a team of competent people who are willing and capable of achieving the company's goals. Moreover, I recently realized that during this work, I also need to keep up with trends in the labor market, to be able to analyze the current situation to employ those who will be the most fitting. Leadership. Leadership is included in the management system in several areas, for instance, in the organization and correction of employees' activities. It includes setting clear goals, coordination of combined efforts, and evaluating the results of a team's activities. Another important factor that is connected with leadership is the ability to motivate subordinates. That is why I believe that it is vital to inspire professional behavior, satisfy individual and group needs, instill confidence in employees, and set an example for people by being passionate about the work. According to researchers, most of the supervisors agree that leadership decision-making is one of the most dynamic, challenging, and ongoing concepts in every organization. However, one of the most important parts of combining the roles of a leader and a manager is representing the interests of the company on the market. In addition, management is impossible without communication, because it creates relationships that facilitate work activities. However, while communicating, I also try to manage individual differences since I believe that satisfying the needs of employees is one of my primary purposes. Control. It was surprising to discover that regulating the work process is not an easy task. It becomes especially difficult in cases when the progress goes off track. In such situations, it is vital to take action, such as ensuring that employees get rewards for achieving goals and continuous improvement in work. This will motivate the team to be more productive, and they will try their best to perform. In addition, dividing big teams into smaller ones and assigning someone to be held accountable could also be helpful, since they will learn about the importance of responsibilities. To keep updates on performance, measuring it once every 2 weeks can be helpful. Conclusion. In conclusion, it would appear that the professional activities of managers include some different factors that should be taken into account. Aside from evaluating work and making sure that everyone does their part of the job, I must coordinate and reconcile opposing points of view. This work has much in common with the activities of diplomats. Therefore, in my work, I strive to help people with antagonistic views come to a compromise and ensure that every employee is doing their best for the company's success.